Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am live. I am the Crypto Crow. It's been a little while since I've done a bit of a live stream. And of course, as usual, I'm always working on a lot of different things. I've been diving really deep into AI, working on AI, talking to a lot of different people about building some AI related projects and things. And so, that's basically what I've been working on. What's going on, Alex? I see you, brother. And I figured, because of the market and what's kind of happening in the market right now, I figure it's probably a good time to go live and just kind of let everybody know my thoughts. The sky is falling, sell everything. We're all going down. It's freaking over, man. Just kidding. Don't click away after that. I'm totally teasing you. Just giving chat a chance to pop in. Let me know, load up any questions you have about what's going on, pretty much anywhere in any way. That's pretty much what these lives are about. I just didn't want to do like a structured little 5 or 10 minute video. I figured I'd go live until I covered everything I have in my tabs and answer any questions you guys have. And Poman13's in the house. What's going on, brother? Falls. What's up? Cosmic T, what's going on? Pele Stenson, yo from Sweden. I think that's where isn't that where La Petite Ada is from? Is it Sweden or Switzerland? I can't remember. I get them confused. One is where everybody hides their money and the other is good for chocolate, right? Something like that. I can't remember. Data Juice, what's going on? Apostolus Cara. You guys with your really long names, I'm so terrible. Crow Grayscale added ADA again. Yes, I know. Solana sucks. Yes, I know that too. Solana, there's some fund, I guess, that it's kind of like the micro strategy for Solana. I think we're going to talk about that briefly because I think I saw that he just went after like 25 million and he like borrowed money. I guess he borrowed 25 million against their holdings to buy more Sol or something like that. I don't know. The Crow is live. Good to see you. Good to see you, Carson. I appreciate it. And any plans on getting Crow tokens on CoinGecko? No, but I do have, at some point, I think your volume has to be a certain level and you have to, there has to be a certain number of metrics before you can get listed on some of those platforms. But I am working on something. And I don't want to say a lot about what it is because I'm getting quotes from 2 different companies to help me build it. And it will utilize Crow token. And I've got 2 things. One thing is supposed to launch today. And it'll be interesting for some of you guys to see like what's going on. But it involves the Crow token Twitter account and artificial intelligence and an absolute treasure trove of trading knowledge and all sorts of things. So when that goes live, I'll announce it and I'll show everybody, but I don't want to talk too much about it yet. But then I have a second part of it that's probably going to cost me a small fortune to have built out. And that too is going to utilize Crow token directly. So one is using the Twitter account for a whole bunch of stuff. And then the other thing is actually going to utilize the token and it's going to connect to the Twitter account and other social accounts and things. And it's just going to be insane. So we'll see. I'm working on stuff, folks. And it sucks because it's like now that the market is up a bit, I'm in a position where I can start putting a little money into some of the other projects that I've been trying to build on for a while. And so we'll see. So let's go ahead and start diving into what's going on. First, I want to thank I Trust Capital. They are an ongoing sponsor for me. It looks like Poman13 is gifting memberships once again. He gifted 10 Crow memberships. Those will probably end up getting a little bit more important here in the not so distant future when some of this stuff launches, because you guys are going to hear about it first. So I will let you guys know, because typically when a lot of what I have going on does launch, I'm going to put it out in a video and I'm going to basically, it'll say, oh, I just got a notification that I think something just launched. But I got to go look at it. Now I'm live and I can't do anything. So you get updated later. But basically I'll make these announcements and things to the members. And typically you can schedule a video Like I could schedule it tonight for tomorrow, but then all you members out there are actually going to get access to the video before everyone else does tomorrow. So that's kind of the fun with the memberships right now until I can do a little bit more. So anyway, it's pretty cool. What up, Wendell? So yeah, I Trust Capital. They're an ongoing sponsor of mine. And, if you are planning for retirement and you are trying to, trade crypto assets and things, as long as you don't want to touch them for a little while, you can benefit. There are a lot of tax benefits associated with like a Roth IRA with I Trust Capital. And so, there are things that I've got going on, where I'm planning long term, for my family and things like that. And, this is the only company that I know of that has proven themselves to date and being, pretty trustworthy. Now, of course, we all know anything can happen in the crypto space, but they have a pretty good reputation. And I've talked to some other people and everybody's really happy with them. So I'm grateful to have them as a sponsor. So check them out. There's a link down below. And, make sure you use my link because then they know that the sponsorship is worth a shit. So like if you just go to their website directly, I don't get credit. They don't know where it came from. We actually talked about that. I'm like, I'm so bad about pushing people like click my link. I'm so bad at that kind of thing. But, people that love me, they make sure I get credit, and the people that don't really care, they just go to the website. So it is what it is. But yeah, check it out if you're interested. And quite honestly, before I start going through everything today, I can see there are more viewers, more of you guys piling in. So I appreciate you. It's been a while. So, and sometimes I just love to see the chat. I just love to see you guys because it's like, I've got the core crew, you guys like Poe Man, a lot of you guys, Alex, that they're always popping in when I go live. And it kind of warms me up a little bit on days where I'm like kind of bogged down. I'm really busy. But, even if you're young, man, like even if you're young, think about it. Even if you were to open up something like a Roth IRA with iTrust and you just put in, $100 a week or $100 a month or whatever you can afford, stay off the Starbucks, stay out of McDonald's, stay out of some of these places, put your money somewhere else. What do you think it's going to be by the time you're like ready to retire? You know what I mean? Like, what do you actually think the value of some of these major layer one assets are going to be by the time you retire? So, it's something to consider, man, and it goes a long way. Yeah, so I don't know, consider that just because, when you hear retirement or Roth IRA, that's like old people lingo for like what to do with your money, but it really shouldn't be. And that's really the gist of it. It really shouldn't be. This is something I wish I would have done a long time ago. It is what it is now, but a lot of you younger folks out there, you've got an opportunity today that of course, many of us in our 30s and 40s never had. So maybe looking at taking advantage of it. And I wish you the best. So thank you, I Trust Capital. Now, looking at Bitcoin's dominance, of course, during the dip, that we're having, Bitcoin dominance rises up again. I think that's going to continue plummeting down here in the not so distant future. But it's funny because this is January. We're in January 7th right now. This is these are daily candles. And, it's been going up and I kind of figured it might, but, it's not the end of the world. We're still not really much closer to filling this CME futures gap. And I honestly don't necessarily think we're going to. Anything could happen, but this is the thing that when it comes to crypto pricing, when the sentiment all over YouTube and the sentiment all over the place is, we're going up, everything's going to break out, this is breaking out, that's breaking out. I feel like when the sentiment hits, that's when the market makers know you're going to buy up there. You're their exit liquidity. The price is likely going down. And I'm going to show you a lot of what they're looking at to make these to make these decisions based off of what I'm going to show you. So anyway, we've dipped down quite a bit. We got a little bit of a dip, but for me, I kind of feel like this is ranging a little. And I feel like it's ranging intentionally until inauguration. And I think once inauguration is concluded, then, here's the thing, man. I love Bet David, man. I love Valuetainment. I wanted to go to their election event. And I would love to talk to him about crypto. I really would. And I think we would, whether it was private or not, I would love to educate him. I've been reading his book. I read like 10 books at a time, though, so it takes me a while to get through any of them. It just depends on my mood. Sometimes I want nonfiction. Sometimes I want fiction. Sometimes I want fantasy. Sometimes I want something more modern. It just kind of depends on my mood. His book is really good. The Academy. You got to check it out if you're a reader, even if you get the audiobook. But I like him so much as a guy, as a business person. You could just tell he's of high moral value, which I look up to. You know, I might be older than him. I don't know. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I feel like I really look up to people with a high moral value, a strong moral compass. And I feel like he, in fact, has that. Now, we've all been young. We've all made mistakes, you know. But it's what we learn from those mistakes that really matter. And when I see people that have obviously learned from their life and have become somebody that I can respect and admire from a distance, those are people that I genuinely want to get to know. Those are the people that I want to meet. And my wife is always telling me, like, you need friends. And I'm like, unfortunately, I just don't vibe with most people. I don't connect well with most people. Because I'm a loner, right? And there are very few number of people that I really look to, that I feel can teach me how to be a better person, or that can, teach me how to do things a better way. And, it's like a lot of the people that I admire are people that I just don't have access to. And it has nothing to do with their celebrity. It's just that their position gives me a window into who they are. Right. So, PBD, it's a celebrity now. He's a big wig. You know what I mean? And it's like, if I would have known him when he just ran an insurance company and it was worth a lot of money, I wouldn't have given a shit. Like, I know a lot of wealthy people. I don't give a shit about the wealth, but having an insight into, it's one of the reasons why I got his book. And I know I'm like spanning and rambling. There's a lot to cover here. Don't worry. But, yeah, I guess in a nutshell, it's just difficult. And so anyway, I don't even remember what the hell the initial point was, other than I'd love to be able to like talk to him about crypto at some point. That's not anything I want to look at right now. This is kind of where we're at in Bitcoin and what's going on. We did get a sell signal over here. This is a 4-hour candle. And I can't see. Let me see here. I need to turn something on here. Yeah. So that was a legitimate sell signal there. And of course we did continue, we moved down, but if you see right here around the 95,750 mark, we go green in terms of like the liquidity. And the question is, it's a fairly thin line. So if sentiment continues to push that down, we could either wick below it, get a rejection and start moving back to the upside. But you can see here, the inauguration's still some time away. Okay, we have like 13 days. A lot can happen in 13 days. Now, keep in mind, these are 4-hour candles. I can see us potentially working down here somewhere around the 93 mark, maybe wicking to around 92. But if I want to look at the liquidity on, where is it? There it is. If we're looking at this here, this is over the last 3 days. Let's look at this on a weekly. And you can see where the liquidity is building up. Okay. Maybe. Let me see if there's a way. Yeah, maybe that'll be a little easier to see. So you can see right down here, there's a really high, there's a really bright yellow point here around 94,000. There's about $86 million worth of liquidity just ready to be plucked. And it's very likely we are going to work our way down there before we start moving to the upside, because in the midst of all of this, there are hundreds of millions of dollars just ready to be liquidated. And you can see this is very spotty at best, north of 100,000. And I think effectively what's going on right now is because we're at such a pivotal point around 100,000, we're at a place where I kind of feel like this is concrete curing, right? At the $100,000 mark. It's being played with because it's such a psychological level that effectively the price action is going to be dictated by the weakness in the market, its ability to push the price down. It's just kind of like that. the concrete for that foundation has just been laid, but it's still wet. And I feel like it's hardening. And at some point, we're going to break above that 100 grand. What's funny is that I see guys like Alex Becker, and I know he's tongue in cheek. I would like to get a beer with that guy and just pick his brain. And just something tells me he's quite the character in person outside of YouTube and all of that. I think he's probably a lot cooler than I originally thought. But he's every day, I feel like, every few days, he's like, I absolutely promise and swear Bitcoin will never go below 100,000 again. And then, because it'll be like 101,000. And then, of course, a few days later, it'll go dip below 100,000. You're like, this time I absolutely promise and swear I mean it. And it's just gotten to be such a rolling joke on Twitter. And it's kind of funny. But I'm not going to say that this is going to be the last dip below 100,000, but I would say it's pretty likely. I think at this point, it's a matter of, do we get down to 94,000? Do we get down even to the $92,000 range? And I believe a lot of that is going to depend on how this price action, how this liquidity continues to shape up from here. So we'll see. Now, the big question is what's happening with Cardano? Well, as you can see here, this was a lot of red liquidity, right? And that is all transitioned. It's basically all red. We're sitting right at this very thin line that we're already working below. This is on an hourly candle. And you can see right here at around 96 cents, 95 cents, we basically turned green. So there's a lot more bullish liquidity sitting at around 95 cents in Cardano than there is bearish. And that could change. But once you get all the way down to around 77 cents, that's where it's bearish. People are like, listen, if it gets all the way down here, it can continue going even further. And so I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. I don't think that's going to happen. But I could see us getting all the way back down here to around 95 cents, depending on what happens with Bitcoin, depending on what's going on in the world. Now, there are a lot of, there's so much happening in the world right now, right? And a lot of people are wondering, is Trump going to get inaugurated? Is that going to happen? I really do wish he wouldn't take some of the risks he takes, knowing what everybody now knows. But the guy's I don't know if he's insane or what, but he just doesn't seem to be all that fearful. And if he is, he's not letting that fear control his actions. But at what point do you say, well, there's lack of fear and there's, you're kind of stupid. You might want to, even the Pope wraps himself in a bubble, right? When he goes out in public. And I just think with the number of crazy people out there that are just not liking him and everything that we've been seeing, it really is a little bit scary. And it doesn't even matter. What blows my mind is how it just does not seem to matter what has come to light recently. Whether it's data, reports, it just doesn't seem to faze these people. They have their beliefs that you just cannot. I really feel like the entire Biden administration and everyone associated with it could do a big press conference and say, we just messed with your head because we were bored. And people would just be like, that's AI, that's fake, I don't buy it. They're just saying that. So who put them up? They would come up with ways to justify the idea that they're just not that gullible. I don't know. It is what it is. But anyway, it is scary. It's scary times because I feel like so much is still on the line. And I think that a lot of this is going to be, I think a lot of this is just uncertainty, what's going to happen over the next 13, 14 days. And that's what I believe the market is waiting for, as well as the Fed, right? There's a lot of this back and forth going on between the Fed and Trump and, who's going to do what? Are we going to have this Bitcoin reserve? What does that mean if we do? What does the Fed have to say about it? If anything, the Fed can't stop them. The Fed can't stop there being a Bitcoin reserve. But anyway, we just have to wait and see. But overall, this is just sentiment that it's uncertainty. And I do think that there's a chance if we did break through this 95 cent in Cardano, that maybe it comes all the way down here. It could honestly come down here to 92, 90 cents before we get that big uptick in reversal. Because here's the question. A lot of people are ultimately saying, when the price was back here, everybody said, well, this is a bullish pennant or whatever, a bull flag, and that we're going to break out of this, and then we're going to $2, we're going to $3. But everybody was saying that, right? And so, that is an indication when everything you look at, when all of the charts, all of the trading view ideas, all of the YouTubers, everybody's basically just repeating each other. What does that generally mean? The opposite is likely to happen. It's one of the reasons why I do the videos I do sometimes, because I will say, well, this may happen, but I'm always right sometimes. That's me basically saying, listen, the consensus is this is going to happen, but it's probably going to be the reverse of that short term. And that's typically what happens on my videos. I'll make a prediction. It'll go the opposite way for a day, and then my prediction will happen. But by that time, I've already had enough people in the comments of the video that said, oh, look, you're wrong. I went against you immediately. Gosh, you couldn't be more wrong. And then you look again in like 3 or 4 days, and I was dead ass right. But it took a day. So the timing is generally off by a day or two, but typically I'm always right sometimes. So in this instance, I think we're probably going to dip a little bit further, but then we're going to get our correction, and we may very well go sideways from there until inauguration. So we'll just have to wait. This is the Pi cycle. This is one of the big things that I'm looking at. And what I think I might do, I'm going to set this up on some sort of alert on TradingView, so that when this crosses over, I get like a cell phone, it'll shoot out the Telegram, and it'll basically give me some notifications just in case it happens when I'm not looking. I'm very curious to see what happens as this continues to move, because you can see all the way back here, we had a very, like, this is May of 2024. And we had a very closed berth. Like this wasn't that, I mean, it was narrowing, right? But then we had a wide berth here in November, and it's starting to narrow again. And that really is substantial. And that's typically what happens, because the ebbs and flows of the market are ultimately what are dictating how close these are together. And so when people say, buy the dip, or they say, this correction is healthy, a correction in the market effectively means that it's giving everything a break, because nothing can go on in one direction forever. Everything needs to take a break, and there's an ebb and flow to everything. And the more of those breaks, as long as we're consistently moving up in that bull market, these breaks basically allow everything to breathe, recollect themselves, gather some strength, and then go on another run. It's like training, or it's like anything you do, right? Let's say I sent all of you out today to go run 5 miles. Are you going to do the entire 5 miles in one stretch? Maybe a couple of you will. But what's ultimately going to happen is you might run half a mile, take a break, and walk a little bit. Maybe you sit down for a minute. Woo, I've had enough. I want to take my drink and recollect myself. Then you're ready to go back on your run and continue the mission. And that's effectively what market corrections are in a bull market. It's not that it's, the sky is falling and the world is over and everything is done. It's just taking a break, and it's really allowing a lot of the indicators and things to breathe as well, which is how we go from narrow to a wide berth with these indicators like the Pi cycle. So, and then of course the Bitcoin rainbow chart, we're still sitting here, we're in the green. And, if you look at this chart, man, $220,000 is the yellow of this. We've never had a market peak out in the yellow. The question is, are we going to peak in the yellow, or are we going to move up to the orange? Moving up to orange, let's see, what's the date of this? That is, so January, February, March, April, May. Let's just say May. That's 5 months. This is how that's 2025. Let's see here, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so this is May. And if we were to peak out in May in the orange, that alone has put Bitcoin's price at around $325,000, folks. So, even and we peaked out just under the dark orange of this. And then the second peak was just into the orange itself, peaking out of the yellow. You can see how the market is changing, is trending. So let's just say that in May, we get our peak towards the end of May, and we just peak out in the yellow. We don't even break into the orange at all. That's still a $235,000 Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin peaks out around 235 grand, what does that mean for something like Cardano? I've done the numbers. I've even released tools to basically show that. So this is a really big deal. And I don't think this is something that most people look at very often. They just see a rainbow and they're like, oh, cool, rainbow. And it's like, but this is a logarithmic scale of the price, the way the price grows a little bit less every cycle while continuing to make new highs. And if you can see the pattern, and the question is, well, what would have happened if the 2021 peak wouldn't have been broken in two? Where would we have ended up? Would we have ended up in the red? The dark red? Probably. We probably should have broke $150,000 in that market cycle. But we didn't, because the institutions are playing games. And I think the institutions are playing games because, as I've said a million times, this matched up to the NASDAQ in 2007 identically. And to me, that tells me that's institutional plays with the market. So what are the whales doing now? What are the whales thinking of the market? Well, effectively, quite a bit. Let me see. I'm going to find this article real quick. Whales have increased their buying and selling for a collection of older tokens, including Web3 assets like Decentraland. I don't even know anybody that uses the Decentraland, honestly. Mana? I still have some on an old wallet from like 2017. I don't think it's worth very much, but, I never sold it. Whale activity is usually correlated with an altcoin season, as both spot and derivative trades showed whale-sized positions. The recent short altcoin season sparks renewed expectations of a new rally in Q1. So that's cool. Hold on a second here. Where is it? Is it this? Yeah, this is what I'm curious about. Cardano's price jumps 30% in a week. Market cap is close to 40 billion. Now, of course, that's dropping a little bit. ADA's price surges 30% in 7 days. Trading volume hits $1.5 billion and market cap approaches 40 billion amid strong bullish momentum. What's funny is I saw somebody post on Twitter. I swear they do this all the time, and I can't not believe they're not bots. But I saw somebody post something about the Solana volume is so much higher than Cardano. It's like, we're like 200 billion. Cardano's at like 4 million or whatever it was. And I'm like, I could very easily create that myself with Cardano. I can make Cardano look like it's doing anything I want. I'm very familiar with bot trades, and I'm very familiar with how a lot of that stuff is made, and it's not difficult to fabricate those numbers. But man, people really latch onto that bullshit. It just blows my mind. Anyway, Cardano ADX stands at 53.8, signaling a robust uptrend since January 4th, supported by golden crosses, boosting market continuance, while activity remains stable at 406 addresses, holding 10 to 100 million ADA, reflecting continued accumulation and market optimism. Basically, the whales are buying this dip like crazy. I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. Whales are buying Cardano like crazy, and every opportunity they have to pick it up under $1, they're swooping in and getting it, and they're not waiting. And it's like, the sentiment is such that everybody knows, and more people are starting to understand that this is going to be Cardano's market. I mean, let's just be real about it. You can throw whatever you want to the wall and make up whatever you want, but we all know this is Cardano's market. And if you're not into Cardano, it is what it is. Good luck to you. But I think that so much is going to be happening between now and May. I'm not saying that May is going to be the peak, but I know that some big stuff obviously is coming down the pipe between now and May. And I just think it's going to be groundbreaking. I really think this is going to be a groundbreaking quarter in 2025 heading into the second quarter. And I really think people are just going to be blown away by what happens. And I really don't think a lot of us, including myself to some degree, are truly prepared for what is likely going to be happening between now and, over the next 5 months. I really think it's going to get insane. This means its price is a little on the steep side, and a small sell-off is gaining momentum, which should consolidate ADA on or around its current level before it's ready to go for $2. This is basically a little article explaining how, we're getting this dip. or we're likely going to get this dip. So this is, I don't know how old this was, but obviously it's before the big tear down. And so we're already down here. And this is basically saying that, yeah, we might get to somewhere around, well, I feel I'd move my big old noggin out of the way. We might get somewhere around the 90-cent mark. Like I basically explained already earlier, and then from there we'll probably get our reversal into our next leg up, which is likely going to be another dollar added. So maybe we're going to be somewhere between $2 and $3 once this run starts to go. And here's the thing, I believe that this run into $2, $3, I've even seen people call for $4, and everybody's playing with the fib and Elliott wave and this and that. Everybody's playing with their different tools, and of course they all have a different way of interpreting these. To me, in some sense, it's like throwing a bag of bones on a pot and like saying, oh, well, I see a vision, right? It's like, okay, cool. Everybody's got their own way of interpreting the bones and how they fall, right? How far away they are from each other and where the sun is in correlation, all of this stuff. But I definitely see us breaking 250 by the end of January. And I believe a lot of that is going to be led by the inauguration, a lot of major announcements, a lot of stuff related to the Bitcoin reserve, a lot of stuff related to Bitcoin OS and Cardano becoming the operating layer or the smart contract layer for not just Bitcoin, but likely XRP and a lot of other assets. I know that things are heating up around midnight, and I've been trying to bring a special guest on, and he's like, we're not ready yet. We're not ready yet. We're not ready yet. Not that they're not ready, but he's not allowed to say anything yet. But as soon as he can, I've got somebody that I'm going to be bringing on who's going to basically make some big announcements, and I'm hoping I get the alpha on it before it all just like hits the public and everything. I really want to be the first to basically say, listen, I named my freaking second cat Midnight before Midnight was even a white paper, folks. This is after my first cat, Cardano. They're both, I still have them both, but that says something, okay? And my second so Cardano is like orange and whitish and like kind of a pattern. And, he's beautiful. He's the sweetest cat. He's so sweet. And then Midnight, she's just pure black with these like green eyes, and like she looks like a panther. She looks like a big anyway, I'm trying to make my case, but so anyway, yeah, I think we're going to have a really good January as long as nothing too crazy happens. Judge freezes the SEC lawsuit against Coinbase amid conflicting crypto rulings. Judge Catherine Falia granted Coinbase's motion for interlocutory appeal on Tuesday, a move crypto leaders are already hailing as a major victory. The federal judge overseeing the SEC's lawsuit against Coinbase ruled Tuesday that the case must be paused until an appeals court weigh in. U.S. District Judge Catherine Faya agreed with Coinbase's argument that too many courts across the country are coming to too many different conclusions about the legality of crypto, which should be acknowledged as a novel legal issue. I agree. And obviously the tide's changing. This new administration isn't about the gobbledygook that the previous administration was trying to create around crypto. I still don't fully understand the reasoning behind like Operation Choke Point and all this other garbage. It's like, why wouldn't you want your people to be empowered, financially? Like, doesn't that help the GDP to some extent? Like, why are we so insistent on falsifying numbers that basically make us look bad, but then structuring things in a way that gives anyone a leg up and like ruining it for everyone? Like, is this really all about control? Like, is that really what's happening here? It just sounds so dastardly to me. The only thing is that, I have some reservations about Coinbase anymore, man. Like all of the reports that you're seeing about them locking people's accounts down for no reason, their tech support not being helpful, and, nothing happening. It's just like, that freaks me out. Like that really freaks me out. And I would love to have like somebody like a top person from Coinbase come on and talk about this, because it's a real big issue. And I think that, like, why is it that why are there so many reports and growing number of reports of Coinbase shutting down people's accounts for no reason at all? And, and I was chatting with a support. I thought it was AI. I personally still think it's AI. with like a real person stepping in here and there. That's what I think their support is right now. I think if it can be an automated question and answer, then that's what happens. And then it's probably reviewed sometimes for specific questions. It's not in the AI database. That's my guess, because that's what it felt like talking to this. It was on Twitter. And, basically said, like, if you don't want to worry about having your account shut down for, security reasons or this and that you don't want to make any substantial deposits into Coinbase all at once. You might want to break your deposits down. And I'm like, why does that matter? Like, why should it matter? What if I basically got in through Coinbase, bought assets. Those assets are now worth substantially more, and I want to send them back to Coinbase to exit my position or to trade it into something else. Why should I be in fear of my account being closed because I made too much money? Like over the course of years, like what is it? And so that really does freak me out. And I really do think it's time. I really want to talk to somebody. I really do, because I'm probably not going to use Coinbase. Like it just, I don't feel safe. And what happens if you basically send your assets to an exchange, whether it's Coinbase or any other exchange, because you're preparing for what's going to be what you think is going to happen, or you're preparing to exit, they freeze your account. You can't do anything. The market peaks and you basically watch everything you've worked for years just get pissed away because their algorithm or their system says you might want to check this first, and then their support is so bad nothing happens quickly, and now you're basically broke because their system's trash. That scares the shit out of me, and I feel like honestly it should scare anybody. And until it's proven that these kinds of things aren't happening anymore, or that there's something needs to happen, because the uncertainty, maybe that's their way of basically getting rid of small players, but it's I don't know. I don't know what it is. I know that their fees used to be a lot higher for people trading under a certain amount in assets, and I don't know if that's changed or not. But yeah, it just freaks me out, man. It really does. So it is what it is, though. Cardano Whales bought 10 million ADA in the last 24 hours. The market crashed recently, but Cardano is maintaining resilience above $1. Key ecosystem updates and Donald Trump ties might help Cardano's long-term rally. Well, you don't say. You don't say. What about using Gemini or Kraken for an off-ramp? Well, Gemini, I don't think even lists ADA for whatever reason. I think because they're like Bitcoin bulls or something. I don't know what it is, but in Kraken, maybe, you know what I mean? I haven't really heard anything bad about Kraken, quite frankly. So yeah, I mean, there's Houdini Swap if all else fails. I was actually checking out Houdini Swap recently. They were an old sponsor, a while back. And man, I was looking them up and their metrics have just grown. Like these guys have grown, over 4,000 tokens, 80 different chains, $1.5 billion in transaction volume, 80 million different routes, and over 150,000 users. So, I mean, and this is the thing where you can trade one token for any other token. You're basically putting in your addresses and, I don't know, man. I mean, this might be a savior for some people that are just too afraid of some of these centralized exchanges. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. I've just been kind of looking and trying to figure things out. So, let's see here. Uphold, I've never really used Uphold very much, to be frank with you. I think I have an old account from way back. I have no idea if there's even anything on it. 10 million ADA is not enough. That's $10 million in 24 hours. That's quite a bit. 100 million is going to seriously help my portfolio. That's funny. Crow Node since 2020. Well, thank you, Delta. It's been live longer than that, hasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Old money's moving in. Yeah, I mean, I just think that people are starting to feel the pressure of this being like the last leg. Things really shaking out. This is probably going to be the last leg. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see. We're at 39 minutes in, 1,316 viewers between YouTube and Twitter. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Hopefully you got something out of this video. I need to get back to work. I'm not seeing a lot of questions, just comments and I think I have to see the wait. I think they have to use the same anti-money laundering software that banks use. If a certain amount is detected, the institution has the obligation to freeze your account by law. Crypto Latino, let me, whoever's watching this, if you can link to anything that supports that, I would love to know, because I know that there are reports like, anything under 10,000 has to be or anything over 10,000 has to be documented. I get that, but I'm talking about people having their accounts frozen for like a year with no customer support help. That's not the same thing. Okay. Here's the thing. I know that these exchanges report everything. If they're a US based exchange or they're a US regulated exchange, they report everything to the government, to the IRS. There are no secrets, right? And so, and I'm fine with that. Like, the first thing I'm doing when I exit the market is I go to my accountant and I let him import everything and I pay my damn tax bill. It's like, I never want to deal with the IRS the way I had the last. It's like, I don't want any bullshit. I just tell me what I owe. I'm writing the check. I'm going to watch the damn bank and wait until it clears through. I'm going to check it again a week later so that nothing happens and nobody doesn't tell me for like 3 fucking years while they're tacking on fees and interest and everything else just because they can. It's just like, I've learned you have to babysit everything you do when it comes to them. And it's just like, otherwise they could just come back and say, you know what, we think you owe this much and, prove you don't. Oh, well, is that difficult? Well, tough shit. Like, it's like, I don't care, because in a way I feel like it's making things a little more transparent and a little easier to not run into bullshit. And I'm in an age where I don't want to do bullshit. I just want things to be done. I want to move on. And so, yes, I have a million SNEC. So, that's it. I do what I do. I want to pay my tax bill. I want to move on with the rest of my life and then enjoy the fruits of my labor unimpeded. That's basically what it boils down to. But if I can't trust some of these institutions to basically value me as a customer or value other people, I mean, Coinbase makes enough money. They should be able to afford all of the staff that they need to remedy issues or situations very, very quickly. There's no reason that they don't. And so that to me screams that there's something else happening. It's just my opinion. I don't know. It is what it is. But based off of a lot of what I see on Twitter, it's just kind of freakish. And I would really like somebody with the power. Like, I'm sure Armstrong's never going to come on my channel and tell me. He's a busy guy, Brian Armstrong. I mean, but like, there's got to be somebody that can come on and explain these things and put people's minds at ease, but nobody has. And I think that there's a reason for that too. So, and if anybody finds these people and they're doing interviews explaining some of these procedures or why this happens or why that happens, and it's not just some AI chatbot, let me know. I want to watch it. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Hopefully you got something out of this video. Hopefully I put your mind at ease about some things. Listen, January is going to be a hell of a month. But we've got a few eggs to crack first. And then in the meantime, crow your coins.